You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Dancing with the Stars After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Dancing with the Stars After Show.
Hey everyone, Bing is for doing, and we are here doing another episode of Dancing with the Stars, a very special episode. We're a little earlier tonight, but you know, with the holiday and everyone trying to get things going, we are so excited to be here. It is season 15, week 9. It's the semifinals. I'm your host, Kristyn Burtt, and everyone's very excited about this show. But let me first introduce my co-host, Suri Serano.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in.
Absolutely. And this gentleman, I have to tell you, I mean, I have tweets like all the way up and down my feed. People say, you look bright, you look good to go, you look relaxed, and they have questions about that Lucky Charm bracelet already. We have Dancing with the Stars troupe member, Henry Byalikov. Welcome.
Hi, how are you guys? Thank you for having me.
I know, I feel like I need like rainbows and glitter.
Yes,
and
we
trumpets,
should have had glitter because your fans have been asking us like hardcore. I mean, tweeting us, emailing, you name it. And here he is.
I know he's here. Yeah, Lisa, Judy, Queena, I think that's Ilara, Grant. All these people are looking for you, and you're here in studio. I tweeted out a picture, and people got very excited.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Yes, they love you. But we're going to talk about the semifinals. We have, 5 couples here. This is really exciting, and it's getting down because everyone is just fighting and clawing to get to the final week. This is it.
Incredible week. It was so much fun. I mean, it was so, I just think everyone did incredibly well. I think you guys would agree with me. I mean,
absolutely. I mean, the competition's never been this strong. Never. I mean, the top 3 that have made it through, I mean, they're so deserving. But, I mean, all 5 were just amazing, from Emmett to Apollo. Everyone.
One routine after another.
Yeah,
it just kept coming. It was so entertaining.
And it's been an exciting season, I think, overall, to get to this point. So what we're going to do is start off now, these dances. Now, I'm going to sit here and, I'm actually going to agree with Max. I saw an interview with him where he was like, what the heck was this? I really... let me just finish this.
Okay.
Let me just finish this because I'm like, I know they're trying to be creative, and that's good. But some of these, I was like, what the heck? What the heck? What the heck is this? And some of the concepts worked, and some of them I was like, really?
Okay, wait, I have to start by saying Monday when I got back by the trailers and I was stopping by Tony's trailer, he comes walking towards me from hair and makeup, and I just started dying laughing with the bones and the hair, and he was
Caveman hustle.
And he was like, and on the phone he was like, what is the caveman hustle? I mean,
Fred Flintstone.
I mean,
whatever it was, it worked. I mean, they did great.
Yeah, so let's start right off. The first couple, of course, was Melissa and Tony doing the caveman hustle. And I love that they're like, it's never been done on the show before. It's not traditional ballroom. You think?
I know. Okay, wait, I want to say this about that dance. For what it was, and I don't know what they were why they brought that, whatever. Tony and Melissa did the best they could with that theme.
Definitely.
What else could you have done?
And the thing is, it still highlights to me, watching it as a pro and watching it as an audience member as well, highlights how talented Melissa is and how dedicated Tony is to work through his injury.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about that injury because they alluded to it on the sort of the package beforehand. But you were going to step in for Tony if he was not medically cleared to actually perform that night.
So Sunday, 8 p.m., I got the co-executive producer come up to me and take me aside while I was, just at CBS, and he said, "Henry, look, would you mind stepping in for Tony just in case if he's not able to do the performances tomorrow?" I was like, oh, okay, all right, so what is he doing? And then he told me again what exactly the dances were, and I went, oh, all right. They sent me the wides through. I went to the studio immediately, downloaded it, looked at it, and just went, oh my God.
I got to do the caveman hustle.
I'm going to do the caveman hustle, and then that Argentine tango, which was just
beautiful,
sensational.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about that one. Okay, I'm gonna say one thing about this, because I think what was interesting with all of these dances, it did show that they were so out there. It was a little bit of a struggle to choreograph some of these. You know, everyone did a great job though in the end. But Melissa, I did agree with Carrie Ananaba on this, that she was a little bit sloppy in the middle of some of her turns. She lost her footing, it seemed like, a little bit. It wasn't the sharpest I've seen out of Melissa. She was barefoot, but it just didn't have that sharpness that I've seen from Melissa. It wasn't her best.
Sure, I actually don't. This is my opinion. He might have a completely different opinion. It didn't show her off as well as every other number I've seen her do show her off.
Mm-hmm.
It's
a
tough.
little bit.
It's
I
tough.
don't mean that in a, you know.
Yeah, it is. It's tough because the hustle traditionally, it's got that, you know, that and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3 rhythm, and that song was so slow that it was really hard to make it any sharper, you know. But at the same time, I mean, you know, Carrie Ann was right in what she saw. So.
Yep. And you could see it. I mean, I went back and watched the dance a couple times just to see it, and I was like, okay. And it was the turns that she was having the most. The biggest problem with, and I think she was probably thinking in her head, probably trying to do the counts.
1, 2, 3, exactly.
Yeah, you're starting on an and count, so that's hard. The one thing I wanted to say: has anyone ever seen the movie Can't Buy Me Love with Patrick Dempsey?
Of course.
Did that not look a little bit like Can't Buy Me Love?
Oh
The whole scene at the dance.
The African anteater ritual?
Yes. Go out there, and if you've never seen Can't Buy Me Love, go out and rent it.
Yeah, I would not have thought of that until you just said that.
But go and Netflix it.
Everyone look it up.
Let me know what you think. I'm sure the scene's probably out there on YouTube. You can find
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Yeah, that's what I wrote down. Okay, 27.5 was the score. I thought, you know, it was because of the little sloppiness. I thought that was fair for them.
I guess, yeah, given the night, given everything.
Given the night, given the fact that they have been given 30s, and
Yeah.
for what they've been capable of, I thought that was spot on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. We next move on to Sean and Derek, and this was I love. It's an
Amazing.
Indian folk dance, so it's the Bhangra. I love Bhangra. I'm such a fan.
Oh my
But to
gosh.
Night Riders.
Yes, I know, which is hilarious. I loved this dance. Loved it.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I mean, to come out like that and smash it like that, you know, traditional style, both Derek and Sean, like both of them just knocked it out.
And you know, she's huffing and puffing, and they're loving it because she never huffs and puffs. She's never out of breath.
And the other thing is, you know, Derek was telling me that he wasn't allowed to use the Knight Rider theme, like have a car there and all of the things that he wanted to. Like he had this whole setup prepared where they were on a mission to go and find Len in India, and
Why
the
weren't
car,
they allowed?
There's some sort of copyright thing.
Oh,
I don't know.
right, okay.
They just
And
weren't
it's an
allowed.
NBC property.
If they could have, they would have.
But I mean, he's just so inventive, and it shows
He
that even
is.
without that, they still, you know, without all of that stuff, they still can kill it. So
Sean
so impressed.
killed it.
Yeah.
The girl is amazing. Mark backstage, Ballas, was like, the girl is unbelievable. She is really unbelievable.
She's so good. I
So
love the end
talented.
pose. I love the energy of it, and we haven't
hard.
seen. It's hard.
Really hard routine.
We did see some Bollywood earlier this year. You know, Jill did it, but we haven't really seen a Bhangra, which to me, oh my gosh, love that.
Crushed it.
Yep, score of 30, and I don't think anyone can really argue with that at all.
No way.
No, not at all. We then move into Apollo and Karina. Now, this is where I go, what the heck? Big top jazz routine. So I guess a little bit of Cirque and a little bit
liked
of
it.
classic jazz. I hated this. I'll be
you?
honest. I thought it was a hot mess from start to finish. Anyone else agree with me?
I don't know. What do you
I mean, to me, I think I'm looking at it from the perspective as this is a ballroom dance show and they're doing jazz, you know. So Karina's out of her element and Apollo, of course, is out of his element, you know. So it's tough. It is tough. I thought they brought it together. I mean, I saw it in
Yes.
rehearsals and it was nowhere near that. So I thought on the night they brought it together much better than before. So, I mean, it's tough when you've got competition like this. It's really tough.
I didn't hate it. Like if you compared it to all the routines, it was something I did enjoy it. I know he slipped a few times and whatnot,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it wasn't my favorite. But it definitely wasn't like ugh, you know, for me.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I just felt it looked messy, and maybe like watching it on camera at home, I just felt like, you know, maybe the angles that they chose. I just was like, what the heck's going on? It's disconnected. It was over here. It was disjointed over here. And then they did something over here. And I just didn't feel like it really came together for them. And it's nice that you were able to see the progression, because you're able to see the progression from rehearsals all the way to performance. So you know what it looks like. But Carrie-Ann Inaba did say disjointed. And they did a little replay of the slip, which was very interesting. They don't normally do that.
No.
And I'm like, why would they show a mistake?
It was just so obvious, and it was in the beginning, so of course they can show it, you know.
I want to get to that later about what they show and what they don't show. So let's talk about that later.
Oh, we've got a whole bunch of judging issues going on. So I just want to go through this because Carrie-Ann Inaba gave it an 8.5, Bruno 9.5, Len was smack dab in the middle. When is Len ever smack dab in the middle? At 9, and their total score was 27. I mean, I probably would have sided a little bit more with Carrie-Ann on that with an 8.5. I think that's really where the score should have been.
That's about fair.
Yeah, I think so. We do have a phone call, so we're going to say hi to our caller. Hello.
Hey, Kristyn, it's Grant.
Hi, Grant. How are you? Grant's one of our regulars. I love this. Grant, where are you calling from?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
He is in North Carolina. I love it. Well, I hope you have a great question for us, because I know you've been watching week after week, and you always have great comments for us. So what is your question?
My question is, Henry, who are you rooting for? Because we all know who Suri's rooting for, which is Sean and Derek, which I think is a great choice. And Kristyn's has been voted out already.
I had Sabrina and Louie, but I'm leaning towards Melissa. I am. I have to say that.
I mean, you know, for me, firstly, hey, how are you, Grant? Thanks for calling in. Looking at the 3 girls that are in there right now, I mean, they are top notch. So it's kind of hard. So I think I'm gonna side with being a little bit biased here, because I've worked with Melissa, and because she's been so sweet, and because she's been so adaptable, and she's been so her energy's been so positive, and I just basically got to work with her. She just showed me that she is an ideal celebrity partner. So if I'm going to choose one, I'll go with Melissa.
Uh-oh, now it's 2 against 1 for once.
Yeah, but that makes a lot of sense because he just worked with her and partnered with her.
I'm sure if I worked with Derek again, I would have probably said Sean for sure.
Yep. I understand. I'm a late joiner on the Melissa parade, so here we go. That's because my couple was voted out. Well, Grant, thank you so much for calling.
Thanks,
we appreciate
Grant.
it. Okay, well,
for having me.
yeah, you bet. We'll look for all of his comments on YouTube. He's got great comments all the time. Next up, we have we talked about Apollo and Karina. Couple 4, Emmett and Cheryl, the espionage Lindy Hop. I mean, I want to know what the producers were doing late at night going, we're going to put this together. Espionage and Lindy Hop. Here we go.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I mean, espionage and Lindy Hop, it's sort of like, I mean, to me, it doesn't make sense. You know, to me, it's like espionage tango. Yes, I get that. Or, you know, something else along that type of vibe. For me, Lindy Hop and it's really hard to marry the two.
Yeah, espionage sounds really sexy. Lindy Hop's not the sexiest dance.
Lindy Hop's just like, let's go to a party, or let's get wild. Let's just, you know, just go crazy. But espionage, and yeah, I mean, I think they did a good job of bringing it together.
They did.
I know I would have had a tough time doing that.
Well, this is my thought on Emmett and Cheryl. I feel like they've peaked at this point, and they've nowhere else to go. Like, they've reached a really nice level of performance. It was fun to watch. It was a fun concept. I just really like Emmett. He just seems like such a good guy.
He is. He's
amazing.
He is such a sweet guy.
I feel like they've reached their ceiling, where other couples continue to grow, and they've got a little bit more technique, and they have the ability to go somewhere a little bit more when it comes to the finals.
Well, she said it in the package. I need you to get to the next level. We have to get to the next level.
And I don't think that they were able to necessarily do that. I felt like exactly where they were was where they were going to stay. You could see his footwork's a little bit slower than some of the other people, but you know, he always has his good little.
Oh, he's got the groove.
Oh, he's got the groove. He's got his hips going on.
He probably would have been in a final in a non-All-Star season again.
I agree.
Oh, definitely. 100%.
And his fan base is unbelievable, so they would have definitely been there with him. He scored 27, and I have no arguments with that whatsoever. I mean, kind of spot on. Although if I compare it to Apollo and Karina, I might have given Emmett and Cheryl a little bit more.
Really?
Yeah, I did think Apollo and Karina were sloppy on the big top jazz routine.
I think the tough thing there is you've got jazz versus a ballroom dance. You know, ballroom. You know, Cheryl knows it, so she can make it flow a bit better. You know, so might have
I would not have. I don't agree with you on that one, but
Let's fight it out,
I know,
Suri. Let's do it.
we occasionally disagree.
No, we do all the time. It's good though. I like it. And you know, again, it's one of those things that the judging's been questionable all season. We'll talk a little bit about that because we've had some great comments last week, and we talked about the judging.
We'll
and
address that.
People are angry. Okay, we move on to the fifth routine, which was Kelly and Val doing the surfer flamenco because it makes so much sense.
I loved it. Love, love, love. We were screaming backstage. The whole trailer, we were screaming, applauding, standing. I mean, everybody that was back there. It was awesome.
I felt like she had a little sloppy on the first part, and then the second part where that they were up on the podium with the water, I felt like that's where it really came together. So I felt like it was two different dances right there.
Yeah, I mean, I can see what you're saying. I thought the routine was underscored. I thought that they did a phenomenal job. She just came out and just blitzed it, and Val, I mean, you know, it takes a man to take off his pants and do flamenco like that.
That body, hello.
He is like a god. I'm sorry, but like, and he is by far, him and Derek, my favorite pro dancers. I know Tony's one of my best buddies. He's right up there as well. But Val, like, I can't get enough of watching him. And I don't, not because he's obviously sexy, but like, he's just so good.
I just love it when they step out of the shell, you know. I mean, he could have gone with the paso doble that they did before because it's flamenco. You know, you can put in a few more flamenco beats and things like that. But he didn't. He separated it and transformed it and used like the water and everything. It was sick.
It was so amazing. And I love Maxie was tweeting, who's like, do the judges even know what flamenco is?
You know, it was one of those things though that one thing I wanted her to be, because Kelly is so petite and so tiny. Sometimes I want her to be a little bit more grounded. Sometimes I feel like she's always dancing on her tiptoes.
Yes.
Sometimes when she shouldn't be. So there were a couple times that I was like, I just want a little bit more like feel the ground, feel the dance floor in that moment.
I get it, but I get like that more with Melissa.
Interesting, but they're both tiny, so it can be sometimes that little, like they're light and
with
little.
With Kelly as well, you've got Val, who's significantly taller, so you know that could be an issue.
Absolutely.
I just loved it though.
But you know, they had attack, and I love that. I wrote Val in his speedos! Exclamation point. Okay, this is what happens with the score. It becomes a 25.5, and Bruno thought that there was a little bit of flailing with the arms, so maybe you could argue that a little bit. But I will tell you that the fans on Twitter went nuts. I had people tweeting me all night going, did you see the score? What do you think of the score? What do you think of the score? Oh my gosh. And people went out there and voted because they were so upset at the judges over this.
So much. I got tweets as well. Pissed.
Angry.
And a little tidbit. When I was outside and it was all said and done, Kelly was in her costume and came out and was talking to Max. She's like, I don't know what else I could have done. I don't know what else I could do to get a 10. Side information there, backstage
Look at that.
information.
Yeah, I don't think it was the best dance that they've ever done. So, but I do love them together as a couple. I mean, we can talk about their chemistry for days, and we have on every episode.
She's won me over. In the beginning of the season, I wasn't really a fan, and she's won me over.
That paso that they did was their moment, you know, and from then on, it was just like Kelly and Val.
They just get it, and he's been such a great teacher to her, and I think a really great mentor. And so the good news is, all of you guys got out there and voted for them because you're like, I'm mad, I'm not going to take it, and you didn't. So good for you.
And you know what? I go over to Max's and Val's quite often, and I see every time I'm over there, it doesn't matter what time it is, whether it's 10 p.m., 12 a.m., whatever time it is, he's always teaching and she's always learning. Like whenever she's there, she's around, they're dancing. So to me, that's why I was put off when they weren't scored, you know, as high as I thought they should have.
I love that. I love to hear that. She's a hard worker, that one.
Yes, she is.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about iTunes. You know, for those of you that are listening on podcast, you know, of course, you can subscribe, you can download, you can share it with your friends. I know you've been rating and giving us comments and everything, and we sure appreciate that. And we only have one more week, so be sure to get out there and let people know you like it, because we will be back in 2013 covering the next season.
Woo!
Henry, maybe you'll be a pro next time around.
Maybe.
I'm not going to say no.
I know, of course you're not going to say no. We've been talking a lot about it. Maybe some new blood will come in, but we certainly want you back here on Dancing with the Stars. So make sure, you know, you let us know what you think about the show, what we can do better for even next season as we move into 2013. Okay, Next section is probably going to be my favorite because I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. I love that it was like the perfect tie-in to the ABC special, which is happening on Thanksgiving Day, which I have TiVo'd, all about Michael Jackson. And
Thanks for letting us know.
Yeah, just so you guys know, if you guys want to come over to my house and watch the Michael Jackson special, maybe on Sunday after Thanksgiving, we can all watch that and listen to his greatest hits.
Who doesn't love Michael Jackson? How can you not?
Yeah, I mean,
or at least appreciate his music.
Okay, let's just talk about the music. His personal life is a whole other issue. We won't get into that. Okay, so for the first Michael Jackson dance, we had Melissa and Tony doing Dirty Diana and the tango.
Knockout. Just knockout.
Wow.
I'll put it to you this way. When I was learning it, and I had one of like an assistant to help me, a female assistant, she wasn't able to do even half of the lifts and tricks and the intricacies of what Melissa was doing. That's how good that tango was.
That's why Len was saying this girl is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, and Tony's been telling me all season. He's been saying, you know, she can do things that no one else can do.
And because I have that inside of you know what I mean? I just, that's why I would choose her, you know?
That one, I don't know what it's called, but the full twisting lift over his
his neck,
and
yeah, and then into the fish, yeah.
Beautiful.
Stunning.
I mean, tell us a little bit about Melissa, because this is the interesting thing. When I respond to comments on YouTube especially, everyone's saying, well, Melissa's going to get voted out this week, because she doesn't have the fan base. I defy all of you. This is exactly why she is in the finals. Not only is she good, but she's likable. And I like her no matter what. And she has shown me that she can be just downright dirty and sexy like she was this week, but she can also be like sweet and cutesy when she does the Lindy. So give me the inside scoop on what Melissa's like in the rehearsal studio.
Well, I mean, as you said, she's extremely versatile. She's very adaptable. The main thing that I noticed from her is her attitude is so positive. And Tony knows how to work her because he's obviously got experience from season 8. So whenever he feels, we're getting into that negative territory, which doesn't really happen often, but I mean more, she's getting tired, he'll let it go. And it's amazing. It's an amazing dynamic, you know, because last season when I was with Derek and Maria, I mean, Derek was working Maria really, really hard all the time, and it was a different dynamic altogether, and that's what Maria needed, you know what I mean? But in this case, Melissa didn't need it so much, you know what I mean? So I was baffled, you know, she just really shocked me.
And I want to say this about Tony as a teacher, because he's taught me a little bit. I mean, he is incredible as a teacher.
Yes.
With anybody, any kind of personality, any kind of way that you learn, he really is amazing.
He's a real pro. I mean, you can tell the experience. When I was in there, it was just, he knew every single count. He knew where he wanted it to be. He knew that we were framing and matching and doing all the things you should do in a trio, you know, not outshiny, but matching and framing her. And that's why it came together so well, you know. So, I mean, he's a true professional.
Yeah, he seemed very, very patient, which I mean, even when he was here with us in studio, it was just really nice to see. And, you know, just the whole dance itself was so emotional. At the end, the two of them, you can see how much this means to them. And even if that was their last dance, they said, you know, we went out with the best we possibly could. And I just love that. And I think that also endears her to the fans that are voting.
Even with his severe back strain.
Yeah, they had a rough week, and remember, you know, even I didn't love the caveman hustle. I don't think that was their fault necessarily, but I mean, like, look at what they're able to do. It's incredible.
And her neck is still a problem. Like, there were a few things in the trio when I was with them. We went to do a back bend, and she just tweaked it, and she was like, you know, in pain, and we had to stop. So, you know, they're constantly dealing with injuries.
And we forget about that.
Yeah.
You know, we just move on to the next week. We're like, whatever's next.
I mean, Derek and Sean are the same, you know. Sean, the poor thing with her knee, and Derek's, you know, his back and his neck and his hip was hurting, you know. I mean, they're troopers. They're really doing a great job.
People don't realize, unless you have a dance background or you've taken a class or anything, how grueling dancing really is and what they're doing.
Yeah, we have Olympians on and athletes, and they're saying this is the hardest thing I've ever done, and they say it every single week.
Donald Driver last season, he sat me down and he was talking to me about it and said to me, you know, Henry, I've never done anything this difficult. Like, I'll tell you, when I'm on the field, no problems. You know what I mean? I'm not out of breath. Are you kidding me? And then I come here, I do about, you know, 30 seconds, and I need to sit down and have a tea, you know?
They're like sweating buckets. We do want to mention the score for Melissa and Tony, of course, was a perfect score of 30. I have no arguments with that. I actually think that was my favorite dance I've seen all season.
Wow.
Look at that.
Wow.
Look at
It
that.
really
the
was
critical one has something good to say.
worthy of a 30.
Yes. So their total score was 57.5. So that's where we are at. Oh, and I also wrote her legs, her extension, the lifts, everything about that was great. So then we move on to your favorite, Sean and Derek, to Bad, one of my favorite songs, and they did the tango.
So good.
Yeah,
I
that was
mean,
awesome.
We all loved it backstage, and I know there was Carrie Ann, the comment. Her comment was about that she didn't get enough from
Chemistry
Sean.
or something like that.
Yeah, and here's what Kim Johnson was saying backstage, and with Shirley Ballas, that Derek is capable of that. She thinks maybe he choreographed it that way. So.
Here's the other thing as well. I mean, my insider information. Derek really wanted this week. He really wanted to be able to use the themes, use the moves, use Michael Jackson week, but you can't do any Michael Jackson stuff. It's just that's the way it is, and so that really was tough, But I mean, they still nailed it. To me, that was awesome.
It
Out
was
of the park.
interesting to see the two tangos back to back, and I will say I liked Melissa's tango better than Sean's. I do agree with Carrie. I felt like I wanted Sean just a little bit more, to have a little bit more maybe connection to what she was doing. It felt a little bit like she was muscling her way through it a little bit more than I've seen her do in the past. But I will say that what I liked about Sean's dance is that her legs, because remember, she's under 5 feet. Her legs look so long, and
Did
I
you
thought
see
it was
that one?
agree with
the
that.
one
I
line
agree
she
with
hit?
that.
It was like a 180. She just kicked her leg up 180.
stunning.
It was crazy.
I don't agree with that she was muscling through it. I do see your point and Carrie Ann's point. I feel like that was the energy of it for her. It wasn't like she's just battling through it. I felt like she knew it, she was comfortable with it, and was performing it.
It looked muscly to me when I watched it. And I went back and watched it again, and I just was like, I feel like she's like, pose. It was almost a little too posed, and I just wanted just a touch more emotion, because I don't disagree with the score of 29 by any means. I really don't, but I do kind of like side with Carrie on this.
Well, they're in the finals, so you're going to probably see it. You're going to see a lot more chemistry, I'm sure.
Do you know it? Is that their favorite dance that they picked?
That's all I
Do you
can
have-
say.
I think we just got an AfterBuzz exclusive.
AfterBuzz TV exclusive.
Are we going to see two tangos? Do you know if Melissa and Tony are doing their tango?
I actually don't know exactly what they're doing.
I thought we were going to get two exclusives in a row. Yes. All right. Anyway, I just thought it needed to be maybe because I just saw the sultry, smoky, sexy Melissa, and the song that she has, Dirty Diana, is much more sexy and smoky when you get to Bad. So that can also affect sort of the performance.
Yeah, I
We've got
love
two
that
back-to-back tangos, But their total score is 59, so that does put them in the lead, Suri. I know you're happy about that.
Very.
All right, we move on to Apollo and Karina. Man in the Mirror, and they did the rumba.
Love that song.
Great song. What did you think of the dance?
Oh, I mean, Apollo nailed it. Like, I initially when I watched it, because I didn't know who it was at the time, I was like, is that Val and Kelly dancing? And then I looked and I was like, oh my God. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, the fact that I thought Karina was Kelly is also pretty amazing too, but he did a really good job.
I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was sexy. I think like each time I see them, because they were. I didn't like the big top. Let's get that out of the way. But all the dances week to week, they've really been getting better and better and better. And I was like, what a way to go out, because that was their final dance, and I thought it was exquisite. I really loved it.
The encore dance as well, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, it was amazing. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I think it was their best.
It's always good to leave on that type of note, like Sabrina and Louis. It's awful to leave and think, oh, I could have done better than that.
No, but that's what's in your mind. You know that like I left on the best note possible, and I thought that was the most heat I've seen from the two of them all season.
Definitely,
Yeah.
that's true. That's very true.
Yes,
Which is
I
good.
agree with that.
And they got a 30. And again, I just don't disagree on that, because I know if we talk about the judging again, they're judging sort of couple to couple versus comparing couples.
I agree with it.
Yep. And they had a total of 57. So this is where I get a little weird, because I'm like, Melissa and Tony have 57.5, and then Apollo and Karina have 57. I'm like, that's when you start comparing like apples to apples. I start going, the judging is a little skewed, and it makes me mad. But that's another discussion. All right, we move on to Emmett and Cheryl with Leave Me Alone doing the tango.
I thought this was really strong. I thought this was a really, really strong dance, especially compared to the Espionage Lindy that they did. I thought that this one, for me, really nailed it.
Yeah, I wrote that they did what they could. They attacked this piece. I felt like it just wasn't enough at this point in the semifinals for them. And I felt like the judges were sort of alluding to like, this is probably your last week. You did a great job. We love you. We won't see you in the finals. That's kind of how I felt like the whole judges panel. Was I crazy? I don't know.
No,
Does anyone else see that?
I agree with you on everything you just said. Yeah, it was nice, but not at the level of the other
It's just
couples.
the competition is just too hard.
It was so challenging this year, and you had several people that just came out of the gate in week 1 so good, and and then they've gotten progressively better. It's so challenging to be someone that is a natural mover, has got a good musicality, but isn't necessarily going to get better technique-wise week to week.
Yeah.
And that's I think where Emmett had his challenges. And I do think this is my one other point. I mean, he and Cheryl were traveling every week back to Dallas. That has to take a lot out of you because it exhausts me. I travel a whole bunch for work, and I'm like, it knocks me out for a day traveling one place and then back to the other. You lose like 2 days.
Especially if you're trying to be creative. Cheryl is trying to be creative as well as be fit and be energy for Emmett. It's really tough.
Yeah, it takes away rest time, training time, all of it.
At your body, they have a time zone issue and everything else. I mean, I applaud him for wanting to be around his family, and we keep on saying his wife is a hottie, so he wants to be around her. Someone said he had a bazillion kids too.
I told you that.
Were you the one? I was like, who said he had a bazillion kids?
Wow. Busy guy.
He is a busy guy. He's got a hot wife. What are you going to do? So their score was 27 for a total of 54. And, they're going to wind up down at the end of the pack. But when you're down to 5, you come in the top 5. It's all awesome. It's a win. It's a victory. Then we go to Kelly and Val. And I love... Who picks the songs? I can't stop loving you because I'm like, is that not perfect for like the lovers of this season?
It's such a great song too.
It is.
Perfect.
They did the rumba, by the way. Who picks the songs? I mean, did
producers?
The producers picked it, so they purposely picked the most romantic song.
And how beautifully it was staged as well with the circle of lights. And I thought they delivered this dance so perfectly.
Yes.
And you know what I loved? I want to talk about the package beforehand because Kelly talked a lot about her first season and how she knew she wasn't the best dancer. She won, and then it was challenged, and they had a dance-off. If you guys remember that, I mean, that's going way back. And she didn't win the dance-off. And when she came into this All-Star season, I was like, she was terrible in season 1. I really thought she was awful. She danced a lot like this with her shoulders up by her ears. And if you go back, especially now, if you go back and watch some of those dances on YouTube, it's kind of unbelievable. She's a different person. She's a different dancer. She's softer. She's a little bit more likable. She has let her guard down. That's all it really was. But I just sit there and think Val has done such a, I'm like, which one of them? But Val has done such a wonderful job with her. I mean, the two of them together should be so proud of what they've accomplished.
As I said before, I got to see them working so much just by being at his house, and seeing them together and working. And this week in particular, this rumba was a kind of, not a back to basics type rumba, but it was all about the basics of rumba, which is what makes rumba so beautiful and so sensual. And Val was just showing me, he just went, watch this. And then they started doing it, and I just looked at it and I went, Kelly, are you kidding me right now? Like, you're doing back basics like a competitive dancer would. You're doing cucarachas like a competitive dancer would, better than some, and her speed was spot on and she was precise, and they still had that connection. So to me, it was a perfect rumba.
I loved it. Loved it.
Great job by Val, definitely.
Yeah, and I do think it was much cleaner than the first dance. So they got a 28.5. I might have even given them a 29. Look at that. But hey, who am I? I'm not on the panel. They had a total of 54. So that's where it sort of all wound up with all of those dances. And then we do come to eliminations. I don't think I was surprised that Apollo and Emmett were eliminated this week.
No, we were all, obviously backstage, or who's going to go? I'm not surprised at all. I think America got it right. And I had things falling off here. I think they got it right. And, there was some conversation backstage, how is Emmett's fan base versus Kelly's fan base? And I said, Kelly's fan base is huge, massive.
Huge.
And then they said, but isn't Emmett's because of football? And I said, yes, probably. But Kelly's fans have been around for ever, and they're massive.
They were the originals, right?
They are the originals. And
Daytime soap opera fans.
no one better than soap fans. I mean,
My
you cannot
gosh.
ever deny that. If you go back to even when a year ago, when All My Children and Days of Our Lives were canceled, those fans just rallied so hard for those shows. It's amazing.
Yes, and Kelly is technically better. I think they got it right.
I think that they did too. And, you know, I almost think that Apollo and Emmett, fan-wise, probably canceled each other out. You know, they're both male and they're athletes. And,
But then maybe Sean would have had the same issue. She's an Olympian, right?
but Sean
She's a golden girl.
I was
She's
I have to be honest.
sweetheart.
I was worried for the girls because I was like, you know, the two guys. He's a Hall of Fame. He's a footballer, you know, and Donald Driver just off the back of that season, and Apollo is just. He's a powerhouse, and he's got, you know, that huge juggernaut behind him as well. So I was worried, and then when that happened, you know, I was taken by surprise because I thought that, you know, everyone was at that level where it was like anyone could go home.
Who did you think was going to go home?
I just had no idea, honestly, because I was looking at it and I was just thinking that they've all just delivered great dances. It's just going to be up to what the fans like.
I think they got it right.
I think they got it
Y'all
right too.
got it right.
And we have an all-ladies finale, which I kind of think is going to be fun. And I think it's going to be tough. And we'll talk about that during predictions and things like that. But it is an all-ladies finale. They'll be doing their favorite dances and they'll be doing freestyle. So we already think that perhaps someone is doing a tango. Sean, maybe. And we'll see what the other two pick. But we have to wait until next week.
It's going to be so great.
No. Well, Henry, since we have you here, we certainly want to talk a little bit about you being a Dancing with the Stars troupe member. And, you know, tell us a little bit about how you got into the troupe, because we keep on hearing from everyone. I mean, we've had Emma on here and Sasha and
Sunny
and Sharna and everything. And they've been all like, you get a phone call. Like, it's like a secret phone call or a secret club. And they're like, would you like to be in the troupe? And of course you say yes. So because it's not easy. It's not like they're holding open auditions, you know, down at Marilyn Clark or Madeline Clark Dance Studios or anything. Debbie Reynolds, wherever they are, you know, all of those. You know, North Hollywood, the little Madeline Clark. You haven't rehearsed there before?
No, never.
It's tiny. Anyway, tell us how you got into the troupe.
Well, it all started back in 2009. I was touring with Burn the Floor, and this was just before our Broadway season kicked off. And we came down to do a little bit of publicity here on Dancing with the Stars. And as soon as we finished, the producers selected a few of us to come back and do a master interview, so to become a pro for the next season in 2010. And I got asked to come by, and everything went really well. And I started speaking to one of the executive co-executive producers at the time, and it was looking like I was going to be a pro in 2010. Instead, I didn't get through because the partner that they had organized for me wasn't able to get on it. They never told me who it was. It was all top secret.
Oh, I was just going to ask you, who was it?
I was like, who was it? So then after that, 2 years just went by, and I randomly got a message, and it was a Facebook message, funnily enough.
I told you, it's
believe
like
it?
a secret club. Like, would you like to be a member of the troupe?
It was just a random inbox message that was like, do you would like to be a member of the troupe? I was like, yep, okay, I do, why not?
It's like a spy. Like, I feel like someone's going to be like, go to the rock. Underneath the rock, there's a message for you.
And this message will self-destruct in 10 seconds.
That's true, right? Because it's such a small ballroom, it's such a small community. They know who the best of the best are.
Well, it goes by, I think it goes by word of mouth referencing. You know, they trust the pros, and I'm sure that's the way it goes. So.
Yeah, we've heard that quite a bit, that it really is it is word of mouth, and that's where everyone hears. And you know, and sometimes you're not asked back, and some people are brought in, and it's kind of interesting how that works year to year. And so you want to have the best season possible so that you're there for the next go around in 2013, or maybe be a pro. Because we talked last week that perhaps that we're going to start seeing some new blood, some new professionals.
Yeah, of course you are. I mean, some people are going to take a break, and you know, it's good to get fresh meat in there.
It is, and that always keeps the show lively and exciting. And you're from Australia, correct?
That's right.
There's a lot of Aussies that are good at ballroom.
I know.
It's like Utah, Australia, the UK.
Just a bit further away.
Yeah, there are all these like little pockets. It's just really funny. And we finally got like, why is Utah so good at ballroom? But we finally got that answered.
But something I also wanted to mention, not about Australia, but that how they pick people to be on the season is depending on the celebrities that they have to pair height-wise and size-wise, you know.
Absolutely.
Of course.
And the celebrity has to give their okay as well.
that can just be like, I don't like the look of that person.
Yeah.
Whoa. And I'm sure Max scares some people, and so other people, they're like, I want Max. Do you know what I mean? Like, some people might be like, he's a little intimidating. And anyone that sees Val in Speedos now is going to be like, I want Val.
No, you know him, so you're
Max is one of the sweetest guys.
He really is.
Honestly, he's just such a good guy. He's so generous, he's so friendly, he's so kind. It's just that he does what he does. That's his profession.
He believes in it. He believes in it, and he's got passion.
If I was ever blessed enough to be on the show in years' time, he would be my partner because of the height.
There you
size.
go. There you go.
There you go.
That's good.
Just kidding.
But I'm like, everyone's going to request Val after last week's Speedo or this week's Speedo.
Yes.
Come on. They're going to be like, I want to touch that hot body, please.
It was like not real.
It's like not an ounce of fat. It's like amazing.
It was incredible.
It really was amazing.
Okay.
I
Moving
know.
on from Belle's body.
I know. I was like, hello. Any inside scoop? Because we always like to get, what is something that we don't see that happens behind the scenes, maybe with the troupe? You don't have to give like gossip or anything, but just, like I joked, I was like, do you guys sit around and eat donuts ever? Because you guys all have amazing bodies.
Dancers don't eat donuts.
No, they
They don't.
they tend to go for burgers more and wings more and chicken
Fries.
tenders
Candy.
and things like that, and candy. Yeah, plenty of candy, definitely. I mean, behind the scenes, we just work really hard, because we see ourselves as very privileged for having the opportunity to be on the show at all. And, I know from my perspective, my mentality is just to deliver as much and as soon as possible. So we just work our butts off, basically.
You guys are always in rehearsal. Every time I'm like emailing with Sasha or Emma or tweeting or anything, they're like, I'm at rehearsal. I'm like, you've been at rehearsal for the last 24 hours. It's amazing.
Same with Tony. I mean, that always in rehearsal.
And the other thing is, I like to help the other pros if they need, help with choreography and things like that. Because this season I choreographed 2 opening numbers. One was in week 5 for the Tuesday results show, and the other one was in week 7 for the Monday opening. And it was, having that opportunity presented to you is a fantastic thing. But then, the pros then look at it and go, okay, well, let's do some work together, and but it's nothing new, honestly. Last season I was helping as well, so it's great. It's a great opportunity.
That's awesome. Now, I know you are headed back to Australia for the holidays, and you're planning on being back in 2013. Is that official, or do they let you know a little bit later on?
They always, doesn't matter who you are, they always let you know like 2 weeks before or something ridiculous like that. But I mean, that's the way it runs, and whatever it is, I've got my fingers crossed. I hope I will be back.
That's tough though too. I've got to imagine, like, if you have other opportunities as a dancer or choreographer, you're like, do I wait for that Dancing with the Stars call, or do I just go forward with this other opportunity?
That's a great point, because people don't know how that works. As a dancer, you want to book things, you want to go, but you have that in mind. Okay, Dancing with the Stars is in this time period.
Exactly, and actually, I'm conflicted at the moment because I just finished work with Baz Luhrmann on The Great Gatsby. And
one of my favorite directors.
Yeah, he is brilliant. And the choreographer was John O'Connell. He's brilliant as well.
I'm going to faint over here. I have to hear about this after the show. To me, being able to work with them was fantastic. But then getting asked to, I got scouted for an audition for Strictly Ballroom the Musical, and they're kicking that off in Australia. So I went through on that, and I went for the lead role for Scott, and I made it through. So that's another opportunity that I'm conflicted at the moment about what am I going to do. But as it's turning out, it might work out that it will happen after the next season. The shooting will happen.
Yeah, not the shooting. It's a musical.
It's a stage show.
It'll be a stage show. Yeah. So that will probably happen. Just after the season, I'm hoping, fingers crossed. Well, I hope I get the job full stop, let alone, get it working in my schedule.
That's great. And Great Gatsby was delayed until May 2013, so,
So it kind of works out,
That does work out really nicely. And, what was it like working with the lovely Leonardo DiCaprio?
They are professionals. Carey Mulligan, like Tobey Maguire, Joel Edgerton, the list goes on. They were just amazing. You come in and honestly, I was blown away. Leonardo DiCaprio blew me away, and then Carey Mulligan blew me away, and then it was just like bombarded by them. But their work ethic is incredible, and that's why they are the stars they are. And I was privileged to be able to teach them,
Leo is a movie star. It's one of those things, I see him on screen, he's a good actor and everything else, but when you see him on a red carpet, you go, there is our generation's like Cary Grant. He is a movie star when he walks by. George Clooney has a similar aura like that too, and you're like, who is that? It's Leo.
It really is. It really is an aura. Like I saw the first time I saw him was far away, but I didn't know who it was. But it was literally like there was stars around him. I'm like, what? What's going on?
Angels were singing.
But I mean, it was awesome.
That's amazing.
I spilled a shot on Leo once.
Well, that is a whole other story.
Yeah, it was hilarious. We laughed our butts off about it. It's a different story, but
Suri's like, I was out drinking and whoop. No, I'm
Just by accident.
I don't drink.
likely story, kids.
No, I really don't.
She doesn't drink, so
really
there you go.
Wink. I don't drink ever.
That's, I don't. It's not true.
Let's start a rumor, an AfterBuzz rumor. All right. So, you know what? Let's get into a little bit of news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
All right, I love my gossip, and I went to a very unscientific poll today, but we went to Extra. I went to the website because they were voting on who you think is going to win next week. So as of about 4 o'clock on the West Coast here today, which is Wednesday, Sean was in the lead, 45.6%. Melissa was second, 43.2%.
Whoa.
Very close. Kelly was at 11.2%. So if you want to vote, it's at the Extra TV website. You can go and check that out. Maria Menounos'
Yes.
show right over there. So we'll give a little plug for that. But, very neck and neck. And I think that you're going to probably see very close voting between Melissa and Sean next week.
I agree. I think it's going to be really tight with that, but I definitely think Sean's going to pull it out.
We'll see. We'll talk about predictions in a moment.
I know. Jumping ahead.
You're jumping ahead, kiddo. Jumping ahead. And the Max, we talked about this, but he had an interesting interview today that he was just talking a lot about that his contract does end at the end of 2013, but he looks like he might want to take a season off sooner than that. And you were saying people can sort of come and go.
I'm not sure how it works, but I think that they can choose which season they want to be on and which season they don't want to be on. So
not everyone can come and go, but it's Max. So
you can probably come and go.
Need a break? You need a break.
Oh, and here's a little bit of news and gossip. I need to ask about this for you. People want to know about your keychain and your lucky charm. Is it on you? Is it here?
I have it in my bag at all times. I got it from a wonderful fan of mine, Kina, and I keep it in my dancing bag at all times.
Aww. Is it here in the studio?
It is.
Or in your car?
Just outside in my car.
Oh my God, that's amazing. It's really close. It's really close. We had to have that inside scoop, All right, let's get into predictions. Who will win?
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
It's kind of amazing to be here at week 9 and just be down to 3 couples. I'm just going to say that Kelly's victory is just the journey that she's had. I think she's been incredible. I think she's been amazing. I think her fans are amazing too. I don't think she's going to win overall. I do think it's between Sean and Melissa. I'm going to go with Melissa and Tony. I really am, because I just feel like they've just been going each week. And everyone keeps saying, who is Melissa's fan base? And clearly, Melissa does have fans, and people keep on going week after week for her because she's just so darn likable and good at dancer, too.
I'm going to go next. So obviously you all know that Sean and Derek are my team. I think it's going to be extremely tight. I really think it's going to be like a nail biter. You're not going to know which way everybody's voting, and it's going to be between Melissa and Sean. I do think Sean and Derek are going to pull it out. I think she's the better dancer overall out of everybody. I think she's the best. And I can see why Melissa has, great fans, and, how likable she is and how great she is. I agree. I don't disagree. I just think Sean has the edge.
And she hasn't won yet, Melissa.
No, and Tony's never won. So, of course, he's like the sentimental favorite.
And they're emotional, and I love it.
Derek is the overall, in the entire world, he is. He's the most accomplished Dancing with the Stars dancer. He's won 3 times.
In the whole world. I love it. I know.
Well, because there's Dancing with the Stars all over the
I know, there's other franchises, but it was just funny. In the whole world.
Making fun of me.
He's the biggest champion ever.
He is.
It's true.
I'm making fun of Suri today. I don't know what it is.
And we didn't even talk about his amazing routine with dancing with, with the So You Think You Can Dance dancers.
Brilliant.
He's so talented.
Incredible. Incredible.
He's talented.
Yes.
No doubt about that.
I mean, for my choice, obviously, I already said that, Melissa would be somebody that I'd like to see win. Having said that, I'd like to see all three win because they're fantastic. I don't want to discount Kelly because I think Kelly's got a really good fighting chance. But I think Sean and Derek are probably going to take it out.
I can't wait to see what
agree
happens
with you.
next week. Just a couple shout outs that we have. Of course, Grant called in, so there's your shout out, kiddo. But Omar, this guy Omar was like, "My name is Omar. Give me a shout out." Omar, there you go. He told me his name.
Nice.
But he, a lot of people were talking about the fact that the judging was unfair, and that what Omar came up with a great idea. Why don't they show the steps of what each dance requires, like they listed out? They've done it in the past occasionally, but maybe for next season.
I saw that, and I meant to talk to you guys about things I found out about scoring and judging and ratings, and we'll talk about that next week.
Oh my God, sorry, we will have to do that next
I know.
week. But for YouTubers, does having a new partner bring advantages? Because remember, look at this. Sean has a new partner this year, as does Kelly. And they're both in the finals. So let me know what you think. If you want to follow me at Twitter, I'm at Kristyn Burtt, KRISTYNBURTT. Suri.
At Suri Serano, SURISERANO. And thank you, everybody, for tweeting.
And I'm at Henry, HenryByalikov.
Henry, thank you so much for joining us. You were a great guest. We love all
Thank
you
you very
guys.
much.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The hosts only do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.